Well, welcome back, everybody. Well, did I just have an eye-opener? Our two guests, we were sitting in my office and we were talking, and believe it or not, it's the 30th year anniversary for Homemade Theater, which has its residence at the Spa Little Theater in Saratoga. I can't believe it's 30 years. So let me first introduce our guests, and we'll tell you why we are talking today. First, I've got Stacy Mayette Barnes.
Very good.
I got it.
Yes.
Okay. She's the general manager, and one of the board of directors, Kim Sutton, is here as well. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. I got to go back to that. It's 30 years.
I know. It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. And in your case, Stacy, you've been involved since the very beginning, right?
Pretty much. There was a little bit happening in the fall of '84, but our first production was in March of 1985 over here at Cafe Lena's. And I went to a volunteer meeting and stuck around.
You got hooked.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a wonderful. We're going to tell you a little bit about the history and the makeup of the theater troupe. But so Homemade Theater has its roots in really what the name describes, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. There's a couple theories around why we're called Homemade Theater. The one I'm most used to is that at the beginning of the theater, because we were small, we were just starting up, that everything that went into our productions came from people's homes. So props and, my family came to see the show and they're like, wait, that's from my house. Like, oops. I think the other one that is really close to our hearts is that the best things in life are homemade. So it sounds really sentimental and a little goofy, but it is true. And we've talked over the years about even changing that name, but HMT at the Spa Little Theater really works for us, and people know who we are. So.
You know what? I love the sentiment behind Homemade Theater, and I agree to that. I could see your parents sitting there going, "Isn't that our refrigerator?"
Exactly. It was waiting until dark. It was.
Oh,
my
really?
grandmother's,
Remember
I
that?
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Kim, why don't you just give us a little sense of, from your perspective, just what the theater is about?
Community. It's
Yes.
about community. That's how we got involved early on. Susan and Jonathan came to us. We own a printing company and asked us to
Foster.
print some posters for them, and we've been involved pretty much ever since.
Boy.
And I think it's the sense of community, businesses involved, and just your everyday people who are in the shows. Who you bump into at the grocery store.
Yes, absolutely, sure.
So.
And quite a variety of shows over the years, too. I mean, I can remember some of the productions myself, but a real nice variety. And let's just talk a little bit about how you go about selecting the productions and the artists and actors involved in.
Absolutely. In the early years, Jonathan Foster was with us
Right.
as our artistic director, and he chose the shows, and which were approved back then by the board of directors. And since the mid-'90s, when Jonathan's no longer with us, we have an artistic advisory board, and this is a group of people comprised of actors, designers, directors who have been with the theater a long time. I'm part of that group, and there's also a couple folks from our regular board of directors who sit in on that process. And we meet through the fall and into January each year and try to select a season that makes sense for our theater, for our audience, and our actors. The folks who are acting in our shows, we have open auditions for every show, and people can just show up and take a shot at it.
I know those open auditions are really popular too. I have friends that go over there.
Nice.
And it's and then the season itself, by the way, because you need to avoid the summer, obviously, with the other activities that are going on in the theater and on the grounds. Pretty much runs the fall through the spring.
Right. We move back into the theater each year because we have to move out, pack up, put everything away at the end of May each year. So we move back in at the end of August, and we're there for 9 months each year. And then our office runs year-round because there's always things to prep for the next year. Yeah.
For sure. So if I'm doing the math right, you're winding up the season.
We are starting rehearsal tonight
Are you
for the
really?
final show of the season. Yes.
Oh my God! Now I think the final show of the season has a certain ring to it.
It does, yes.
This is going to be a nice lead-in to
Yes.
the benefit, right?
Right. The final show of the season, shall I say that now, is The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Right.
And this is close to our hearts because the first show we ever did at the Spa Little Theater back in the fall of '86 was The Man Who Came to Dinner. And it's a big, wonderful, classic Kaufman and Hart show that it's so many. I think the cast is like 25 people. It's just a terrific, delightful, happy piece. So, with
I can tell you firsthand that it's a delightful piece, and the theater itself lends itself to theater. Not a lot of places you go to see a play or something lend themselves to it, but the Spa Little Theater, located right on the SPAC grounds there in the park, is set up. It's like 500 seat. It's intimate, but it's big enough so the crowd and the actors really have a wonderful interplay with each other.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it many times. It's the 30th anniversary. There's a benefit coming up. So let's talk a little bit about that. Kim, jump in. What's the benefit?
Well, our theme is Pearl and Diamonds because it's that 30th year, modern and traditional anniversary. We have live auction and silent auction. Some of our live auction items are, we have a necklace and matching earrings, pearl from N. Fox Jewelers. We have a diamond necklace from Dijon Jewelers.
That's the theme.
Yeah, we have some stuff from probably a photograph, I think, from Tom Stock, and just tons of stuff from community businesses who are always out there to support us. We have gift certificates from a lot of the local restaurants. We have gift certificates to some of the other theaters in the area even. And that's where we get our support from our benefit is finances our shows for next year.
Okay, now we're going to give you the backstory. The backstory on this one is that the community really supports.
Right.
You know, when Fox and people like Dennis DeJong jump in and Tom Stark, you know, that it just shows that the people that really love this.
And they've been longtime supporters.
Oh my God, yes.
So.
And the Dakes.
Right.
Soonville Dake, of course.
Yes, there are chairs this year, and
right, that makes sense.
They chaired our first benefit, and we are very happy to say they're chairing this benefit for us, and they've just been wonderful to the theater every year, donating and helping us out. So
I know. Well, the Dakes also have a long history with SPAC too, as well.
Right.
Sure.
Hey, I'm going to cycle back on something. We're calling it a benefit. We're going to take that word out. Here's a backstory. It's a party. And it's a hell of a party,
It is.
as I recall. It's March 21st. It starts at 7 p.m. They do all kinds of very interesting things in the lobby area, and then they move inside, and there'll be a musical presentation. Right? You've done that before, and you're doing that again this year. Great open bar. And something that I call musical chairs, but what did you call it?
it's a cakewalk.
A cakewalk.
Right.
Oh,
So it kind of looks like musical chairs, but people are dancing around the dance floor, stepping on numbers, and when the music stops, they need to land on a number, and then they win the cake that corresponds to that number. Something about people dancing, they've been drinking at night, and they win a cake. They love it.
And
they
it's
love
a theater, and it's
They've
a
got
theater
dessert for the next
atmosphere.
day.
Yeah, that's right. You know, although the next day they might be
Yeah.
Right.
a little slower
I don't know.
to the
We've
draw.
had people eat the cakes right there too.
I
Like,
bet,
"Get forks?"
yes, that's right. It's a wonderful event. It's a 30th anniversary. This is a troupe that doesn't get any support unless the community supports it.
That's true.
And it's hence the name Homemade Theater. But always been a big fan of it myself. And so March 21st, 7 p.m. It's a Saturday night at the Little Theater. Right on the grounds where SPAC is located in the State Park. And be prepared to have a party.
Absolutely.
Right?
That'll
Great.
be a lot of fun.
Thank you very much for
Oh,
coming
thank
in.
you. Thanks.
Best of luck, and we'll
Thanks.
be checking back with you.
Great.
Okay. See this interview again? You can head to our website, looktvonline.com.